Hello, Days of Our Lives fans. This is Who Shot EJ. We have the suspects. We have the evidence. See what you think. Okay, our top 5 suspects are Johnny, Gabby, Ava, and Jada. I only got 4 on there. Okay. Reasonable suspects, but unlikely, are Kate, Kristen, Roman, and Rafe. So I'm going to cover all of them and what we know about them, and we'll see what's going on. Johnny is my number 1 suspect. He had a gun. He could not be reached for hours, and he's told EJ that EJ is dead to him. Okay, so he supposedly went to visit his grandpa Roman, but Chanel was trying to call him because for hours she was worried about him. He came home. Now there he is. He was getting the gun out of that little box at Roman's. And so we know he took the gun. He came home, and Chanel's like, "Where you been? You been at your grandpa's for all these hours? I've been calling you, texting you. What's up?" And he's like, I just went to the park, went for a walk. Tried to clear my head." She said, "Well, did it work?" And there's this picture again. This is where he's trying to get into that little box. He's got the key. Unfortunately, his grandpa Roman told him where the key was and that he had a gun. But he didn't tell the kids all those years because, he didn't want anybody to get hurt. So there he is, making sure the gun's loaded. Yes, he is. I've got my pictures mixed up. I was doing something different with my video here, and it's moving pretty slow. I don't know about this. Anyway, so he gets a call from Chad because Chad and Kat are at the hospital with EJ. Of course, Chad is the one that found EJ shot on the floor, bleeding. He was mumbling a little bit. He was still alive. They took him to surgery today, and he did survive the surgery. Anyway, he turns around and Chanel's like, well, what's wrong? What was that all about? And he's like, "Oh, it was my Uncle Chad. Looks like EJ's been shot." And she's like, "What? I'll go get my coat and I'll go with you." And he said, "Go with me where?" She said, "To the hospital." And he said, "I'm not going to the hospital to see him. He got what he deserved. I don't care what happens to him." And he walked off. They were stunned. Gabby is my number 2 suspect. She had a gun. She was also unreachable for hours. And she recently held a gun on EJ. JJ has been trying to call her all day. He called her work. They said she'd been gone for hours. She too was not answering her text, her phone calls. See, we got a number of suspects here. So there she is earlier in the week when she was talking to Rafe, and she told Rafe, "I'll kill him myself after everything he's done to our family." And last week, or a couple of weeks ago, she did go with a gun to shoot him if he did not tell her yeah, this was before they found the real Rafe. And she had held a gun on him, and you see JJ in the background had came in and stopped her. Well, Leo runs into her in the square, and he's like, "Wow, we all got to watch our backs tonight. There's a murderer loose." And she's like, "What are you talking about? She's such a snot. I do not like the new Gabby." Anyway, he said EJ got shot. She said, "Really? Is he dead?" And she said, "I don't know. I went to try to get some info at the DeMera Mansion, and nobody would tell me anything. He's at the hospital now. We hear he's, it's pretty bad." And she said, "Good. He got what he deserved. I hope the bastard dies, or the son of a bitch dies." She said something to him. And he's writing down everything she says because he's a reporter for The Spectator now. And then she was walking off, and she said something about bitch ass something. And Leo was like, "Can I quote you on that? You called EJ a bitch ass what?" And she's like, "No, you can't publish that." He said, "Why not?" And she said, "May I remind you that I let you move into my house. And if you publish that, people are going to think I shot him." And who knows if she did or didn't. Why wasn't she answering her calls and stuff? You know, JJ's been trying to hunt her down all morning. So she tells him, that was off the record. You don't publish that. And he said, well, it's not like you did shoot him, right? And he's looking at her. He's very taken back from the beginning of the conversation at how much she hates EJ. So he agrees not to do that, and he leaves. So she's calling the hospital, trying to get information on him. And she's like, no, I'm not a family member. She said, I used to be married to his brother. What do you mean that don't count? I had sex with him once. Does that count? You know, she's just nasty. And up pops JJ, and he's like, I've been trying to call you all day. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, you okay? I was worried about you. And, you know, I didn't know if you knew EJ had been shot. And she said, like, yeah, I heard. Is he dead? And she said, we don't know yet. She was asking him a lot of questions. Next up's Ava, who had a gun. She went to EJ's home, and she ended up disposing of the gun, and she left town. That makes her highly suspect. She's right up there with Johnny in my book. So, this is a picture of her when she was talking to herself, and she was messing with her gun. There she is with her gun. She just pulled it out and was standing outside the door. But there was a scene that said at the bottom of it, before it showed EJ again, that said sometime later, which meant this was quite a while later than Ava was there. So there she is in the park, and she is taking this gun out, and you can't see it, but she's got a napkin around it, and she ends up putting it in the garbage can. There she goes, sticking it down in the garbage can. And then she hightails it out. She leaves town. She tells Roman and Kate, I'm going to Hong Kong. Nothing here for me. Gotta go. She was in a rush. And that's what she did. She left. That's the last that we'll see of Ava for now. Jada, she's up there. She had a gun. She was drunk and lost her gun. And she was unreachable for hours. All of her officers and JJ, they had all been trying to call her and text her, because she is the commish, as they call her. And there she is, putting her hand on her gun last week when she was talking about EJ needed to suffer some justice. You know, she needed to get justice. So here she is, drunk as a skunk today. I so don't like her anymore. And of course, Sean comes and finds her, and he said, I heard you were missing, so I came out to find you. And she's, you know, and she's off duty. And he said, that's fine. And she ends up looking at her phone, and she's like, oh my God, I had it on Do Not Disturb. He said, you're off duty. Don't worry about it. It's understandable. And she said, well, I wasn't thinking straight. Sean kicked me out the house. Rafe kicked me out the house. I guess we're done. He doesn't understand why I didn't know it wasn't him. What kind of man did I think he was? He's right. I should have known. And she's all crying like a big B-A-B-Y. Man, she's going to make everybody miserable. She wants to go to the DeMera house, and she gets up and she falls. And this is her when he's grabbing her when she falls, and he noticed her holster's empty. He says, where's your gun? And she's like, I don't know. Oh, I think I took it off and put it in my desk drawer before I left work. And he said, and you left the holster on? She said, well, I was confused. I was stressed out. Kate, she had a gun. She was unreachable for hours. And EJ just threatened her kids. As a matter of fact, Rex had just been in a hit-and-run accident, and she's pretty sure that EJ had something to do with it, although I don't believe that he did. But here she is. She's on the phone trying to call Roman, who is also been unreachable. And he says later that he had been trying to reach her too, but I don't know what's going on. She's leaving Roman a message. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you right away. It's important. Please, Roman, call me back. So no sooner, and there she is. She's walking through the park, and what's she got in her hand? A gun. So she absolutely has the gun too. No love lost between her and Mr. E.J. DeMera. There's not too many people in Salem that don't hate E.J. I love him. You know, I mean, of course he hasn't ruined my life. Kristen, number 5. She had a gun. EJ kidnapped her mother, and she just had a heated discussion with him about it, or tried to, the night before. But he told her, "Not now, Kristen!" You know, he screamed at her. So DJJ's questioning her about it. And she's like, "Well, I was asleep, you know. I went and took a shower and blow-dried my hair." And he said, "You didn't hear a gunshot?" "I was in the shower and blow-dried my hair, and then I went to bed." And she's like, "It's true that we don't always get along." But see, Kristen would not have done it, because if she shot EJ or tried to kill him, she would never know where her mother was. But there she is looking at that gun. She had a gun too, and she definitely had motive. But I believe that she would not have shot him because she would never find out where her mother is. As long as he's alive, she's got a chance to find out where her mother is. Roman, he had a gun. He was unreachable for hours, and we see him return the gun. So he comes back to the pub, and Kate's like, "Roman, I've been trying to locate you for hours." And he said, "Oh, I've been trying to get a hold of you too, Kate." And she's like, "Well, what do you want?" And he said, "Ladies first." And anyway, she goes back to do something, and he goes over to the box and grabs it, gets the key, opens the box, and we see that the box is empty. And that picture is coming up here in a few minutes. So what I was thinking when he opened the box, see, there it is, it's empty. I thought, oh man, he's going to know probably Johnny took it. Well, apparently he's already checked that box, I believe. So the next thing we see is he pulls out a gun and puts it in the box. So this is my theory. Roman didn't take the gun and go shoot EJ, because we know that Johnny already took the gun. What he did is he probably noticed it was missing and was pretty sure that Johnny did take it, or possibly Kate, and he was trying to cover for his loved one. So he went and got another gun and replaced it to cover for them. So I don't think Roman is a suspect at all, but he's looking kind of fishy. Rafe is also looking sketchy. He's talking to Javier, and he's telling Javi Javi Hip Hoppy that he said, I'm gonna pay EJ back. I'm gonna get him. So Javi Javi Hip Hoppy was talking about it later, but what he was talking about with Leo, but what Rafe was talking about is Rafe planted that mic to record EJ last week. And when he found out that he was shot, when Leo came in, there he is. He snuck back in the mansion and is taking the mic. So he will be able to know maybe even who shot EJ. Will he turn somebody in? Everybody hates EJ. Chad started talking to EJ and told him he had called his mother, Johnny, and Sydney. And he's been right by his side. He wanted him to know that he's not being alone. And then EJ went into having seizures. He started like convulsing. Now, when I thought about this after I watched it today, I realized that when he said he notified Johnny is exactly when he started having convulsions, seizures. I think Johnny killed him. That's a wrap.